Where do I begin? Hi everyone, it's Hannah Musette here and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you all about something that's personal and kind of emotional to me. I remember making an adoption video several years ago because I wanted to kind of have that outlet to let out what I wanted to say at that time, but I have since privated that video because I was young and I do not know half of the stuff that I know now, and I actually like sharing my adoption story with people because that's just my story. That's a piece of me that I like sharing with people. So the reason why I am going into making this video again was, one, to give you all an update, and two, because I made this TikTok of an adoption check.
Hey yo, adoption check.
And everyone's responses were so nice and generous, and a lot of people were having questions in the comments. So I was like, you know what, I just need to make a video to kind of gather all my information and let it all out. Before I get into this video, people have two looks on adoption. One is, oh, your parents gave you up. Nah, 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 nah. But no, I don't like to look at it like that. I like to say, like, I was given a new life. And two, people love adoption. There's foster homes, there's people that adopt kids, and I think it's wonderful. Whenever I'm old enough, I actually want to adopt my own and keep that cycle going. I just want to talk to you all about my story and kind of have that outlet again. After I turned 18, my mom that adopted me, she was like, you know what, honey, you are old enough to know all the information. Here's your adoption papers. And this 500-page booklet file thing is just too much. I haven't read all of it yet. Once upon a time in Florida, there was my birth father and then there was my birth mother, and they both were doing, I don't know if it was hardcore drugs. It says here in the paperwork also that I was tested positive for cocaine in my bloodstream, and so was my other sister Savannah. So we both were tested for drugs in our system, and I was actually classified as special needs. I don't know for how long, but because there was all that in my system, I had to have a little bit more TLC to be able to function. After me, they continued to have 4 more children back to back. So there's me, I'm 19 now, Savannah, she's 19, Elias, he's 18, Michaela 16, and this other little boy that no one knows about is 15. So yeah, that's back to back having kids throughout these 5 years, still having alcohol and drugs and not really caring about the safety of their children. The third child, my brother, has Down syndrome. His parents won't let us see him. We've been trying to see him for many years and they've never let us see him. So with the 5th child, it is a little boy, and I don't know anything about him. No one knows anything about him because his parents have made the decision to not allow him to have contact or even know any of his birth siblings, which is kind of shitty. It says here in a letter from my birth father, way on the bottom, that there is a boy born March 8th, 2005. So I don't know anything about him other than his birthday, and maybe he might look like all of us because we have very strong genes and we look just alike. All these other kids were born, and one day, I think I was 5 or 4, we all had a play date because we were all adopted and lived in the same area in Florida. So all the parents were like, you know what, we all need to get together so these kids can meet each other. So yeah, I have memories and I have pictures of seeing Michaela and Savannah for the first time. And basically since we met each other, we haven't grown up together, but we have stayed in contact. So basically my life has been a puzzle that I've been trying to put together. You know, I've always wanted to know, who are these people that had me? Because looking at my friends at school, they all have their parents and you can tell that they look just like their parents. I'm not from my mom that has me now, so it was kind of, it was where it was just curiosity, because I feel like everybody who's adopted should have that chance to get the closure that they need. And so I think that's why my mom gave me this paperwork too, just so that I would have that closure. I was placed in foster care with my mom at 3 weeks old, and I was adopted at the age of 3. My mother that I have now was a foster care mom. She took me in, and she always says every single time we're on the subject, whenever you were carried in, I just thought you were the most beautiful baby and I had to adopt you. That's what she always says, and I'm so thankful that she adopted me. Whenever I entered her home, she already had 4 kids, 2 by her ex-husband, and she adopted another 2. So my siblings range from, I think my sister's 40 now with 2 kids. My brother is like 38 with 1 child who is my nephew, and he's the same age as me. Then my mom adopted a girl who had cerebral palsy. Her name is Rebecca, and unfortunately she passed away when I was 14. And then she adopted a boy named Colin who is 25 now. So it was a very diverse household. So I grew up knowing the difference between people. My brother had ADHD, my sister was handicapped, so I was growing up in a very understanding, non-judgmental family. Throughout my life, my parents have shown me all the experiences that really could have been shared. My dad taught me how to fish. Whenever I was growing up, we moved to Tennessee and we had a farm full of alpacas, horses, any animal that you could really name, we had it. So I've had my fair share of experiences, and them just trying to make sure that all their kids had all these experiences underneath their belts. My mother and my father have been pretty transparent with me and always talked to me about my adoption, has always been open with me about it, and they've always been open to answering my questions, even though I knew that those questions bothered them. I've never adopted a child, but believe it or not, whenever somebody adopts a child, their biggest fear is thinking, you're gonna find your birth parents and you're gonna love them better than me. That has never been the case. No matter how much you can assure your parents, it's always in the back of their mind, you know? Ever since I could remember, I have been told I'm adopted, and she kind of had to tell me that because here I am, light-skinned, and my family is white. So when I'm older, of course I would have some like questions if she never told me. Going into the future, I was about 15 when I actually reached out to my birth father, and that is a big no-no. Okay, that was a big no-no because the court has it to where all the parents had to sign a paper that said these kids cannot have contact with their birth parents or vice versa until they're grown adults and are 18 years old. My mom took my phone in a heartbeat. So yeah, like I said earlier, I was always curious and I always wanted to know my birth parents. So yeah, when I was 18, I texted my birth father. I've had contact with my birth father since I was 15 technically, but I'm gonna say 18 because at the age of 18, that's when I actually talked to him in depth. I tried to talk to him about this other little boy, and he doesn't know anything about him either. And my birth father is actually a cool dude, and I think he did learn from his past mistakes. At the end of the day, I can't hate him and I cannot hate my birth mother because I was placed in a wonderful home with my family that I have now. So there's nothing to even be mad about, and I can't sit here and say I hate you, you were doing drugs, because life has a miraculous way of bringing people together, and I was so thankful to be placed in a family that has loved me for many years and has accepted me for the way I am. Sorry. And if it wasn't for this adoption, I don't know where I would be. Not all people are cut out to be parents, and I'm thankful that they gave us up, and I'm thankful that I have been adopted because I was given the opportunity to have a new life, and not everybody can say that. When it comes to my birth mother, I have contacted her, I've talked to her. I can tell that she's sorry, she's genuinely sorry, and she said that enough. And for me, like I said with my birth father, I can't hate them. There's nothing here. I have no malice in my heart towards them. In conclusion, I have been blessed to be in a family that has supported me and loved me throughout my whole entire life. I cannot say how thankful I am to have an angel as a mom, an angel as a father. These two individuals came together to adopt me and take on the responsibility of adopting me, and I am forever grateful, and it gets me emotional because without them I wouldn't be who I am today. So I just want to say that I love you, mom and dad, and you guys will always have a special place in my heart because you gave me life. So yeah, that is my adoption story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any more questions, I will probably do a different video on this, kind of covering the questions that people ask me about my adoption. So if you have any questions for that video, please comment them down underneath my comment in the comment section, and I will see you in my next video.